Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to 2025, the Performance Medicine Show live Q&A every single Tuesday, 7 to 8. We're excited to be back. Hello, I see my grandmother's in here. So fun to get to be with you all holiday season. Let's see. D-Lan, I see you. Roel, what's up? What's up? So good to be here. We're going to let a few people come in, see where we are live. Hello, everybody on Instagram. Thank you for being with us tonight. And I think we are everywhere. All right. Hello. Tom, what's up, brother? Oh, nice. Nice. So you'll see Andy on Thursday. All right. Carter, what's going on? Happy Tuesday to you. Thank you for that fantastic video with Dr. Rogers today. As you guys know, today is the first day of the No Processed Food Challenge. As we get some people in here, we'll see who's doing it. Carter and I are both attempting, but I will say I have had beef jerky today, which is technically, but it's not ultra processed. But I'll just be fully transparent. All I've had today is 0% Greek yogurt, blueberries, and a whole bunch of grass-fed beef jerky because I'm starving. Doug, what's up? Stan, hello. So what I got to ask everybody, if you guys could let me know if you're doing the no processed food challenge, let me know and let me know what you're eating because I'm going to write it down for me. I am trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to eat over the next couple of days. I hear you, Tom. I hear you. If you're a lifter, you got to get that protein in. My man Dave, what's up? Great to see you. Yes, Carter, you're right. I think I'm at the 0%. I might need to up that, but I had a ton of it for lunch because I had nothing else. I failed to prepare. But let's see here. I'm going to put this up. Where is it? Shoot, I can't find it. But we are doing the no processed food challenge, and I'm looking. Okay, maybe I don't have that. I'll go over a couple of the. Here's if you guys haven't watched the Dive into Diet with Lucas, who's heading up this no processed food challenge. Part 2 of the New Year's resolutions. Part 1 was the week before Christmas Eve. If you guys have not, if you guys are New Year's resolution people, check that out. Kind of does it specifically for health. Montana, what's up? Happy Tuesday to you. It's funny. As you guys can probably tell, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. And I think I want to say Montana and her family had a little bit of an illness a week or so ago, and it's just been going all through Knoxville and East Tennessee, and that's really what this episode of the Common Sense MD was about, was how to treat respiratory illnesses. It's a really cool episode. Doc was actually a little sick last week, and he filmed it then, and so he's kind of coughing throughout the episode, but he kind of goes over his proactive approach, is what I'm on right now. I'm on a Z-Pack towards the end of it right now. But yes, yeah, I hear you, Montana. It's definitely going, it's all over the place. So if you guys have questions about that, make sure you ask tonight. It's kind of top of mind for all of us. Mark, you're right, man. No haircut yet, but I promise you I will be getting one soon. That is coming very soon. Okay, I'm seeing some food stuff here. Oh, nice. Thank you, Roel. Yeah, we're super proud of the pain formula. Thank you so much. Let us know how he's doing. Um, yeah, Carter, I'm trying to be okay with a large container of yogurt and fruit, but I'm so used to I'm just gonna tell you guys, a sausage, egg, and cheese for lunch. I have a sausage, egg, and cheese for lunch all the time, and going from that on an Asiago bagel to, Greek yogurt plain with a couple blueberries was tough today. Welcome in, everybody. Fastin, I see you. Raw cashews. I need to get on that. I see April's in here. April, is so good to see you today. Thank you for everything. We're getting going in all of our offices this week. Thank you guys for being patient with us the last week or so. We've been off a couple of days, and we're back, and we're ready to roll. All the offices are rocking and rolling. Thank you to all of our team. We're excited to be back in 2025. I think Doc is about ready to roll. One ingredient foods. I like that, Roel. I'm still trying to figure out my formula. I really am. Is Doc ready? All right, let's rock and roll. What's going on?
Hey, Ben. How are you? Boy, your hair looks different tonight. It looks wet. It looks wet.
It's just down. I normally wear my hair up, but it's down tonight.
You wear your hair up like a girl. Is that what you're saying? Are you going to get a ponytail?
I could right now, but I'm not going to because I see Steve Nice is in here, and I just couldn't. I couldn't have a ponytail in front of Steve.
No, Steve's one of those guys. He hates ponytails.
He wouldn't even talk to me. I just know it. So, but Steve, good evening, my brother. Yes, I agree, Carter. We had such a great break, and we're ready to go. And
that's right, we're
January.
back. Yeah, that's right. This is our first Q&A in a couple weeks, isn't it?
Yeah. So thank you guys for being patient with us, and we're excited to be back. We'll be back every Tuesday here on out. We're energized and ready to answer some questions. Let's see here. If you guys have a question for Doc, go ahead and put them in the comments. And if you have any sort of like, hey, here's like a meal plan that's going well for me, and you're on the no processed food challenge, put it in the comments for me specifically. How you doing on the no processed food challenge, Doc?
I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm really enjoying it, so far, and feel great. I got over a respiratory illness last week, and I really am enjoying it. I look forward to the whole month of it, and hopefully, we'll continue to not eat ultra processed foods. I agree, it's tough. I mean, it's kind of tough. It's different. You have to think about it and read a lot more labels, but I think we did a little Facebook post this morning about it that you may want to repost after this. I thought it was pretty funny about me throwing some things away that I had in my office while I was eating my lunch.
Yeah, Carter just texted me before the show. I think they threw out their peanut butter as well. Like, peanut butter is just going out the window, and I'm a peanut butter guy. I love peanut butter.
We can still do peanut butter from just ground fresh peanut butter, although it is still blanched because it's not number one on the list for sure, but I don't think certain types are ultra processed. Certainly the Jif that I had that I dumped in the garbage can was ultra processed. There's no doubt about it. So when you start looking at these labels, it's incredible how much canola oil, safflower, sunflower, a lot of soy-based products. It's tough. Nobody's going to be perfect with this, so don't worry about it. But just try to really work into your diet what you think is going to be less processed.
So give me that. Give me like the less processed. Coach me through like, okay, Ben, we know your habits. We know you're not, meal prepping for 2 weeks and I'm going to eat, plain chicken for, lunch and
Yeah,
dinner.
just don't get stuff that has wrappers on it, and uh, you know, you're gonna have to leave out all the junk food that you know is junk, like potato chips and all that. Eat the single ingredient foods like Roel was talking about. Ultra processed, leave out some of the juices out, and in your case, leaves a lot of the beer out that you drink. Uh, um, again, we've put a pretty detailed report out there that's available for you, and Lucas, our nutritionist, is really guiding this whole thing. And well, I'm really taking advantage of getting foods. We just placed an order tonight to Brookhaven Farms for more meat and eggs, and their stuff is just amazing. I really, I had no idea that meat could taste as good as their meat tastes, and I've always loved meat. But yeah, we had to check that podcast out. It's a really interesting podcast. I learned a lot about um, the different kinds of cattle and pigs and um, chicken, and it's just an amazing. They make a great yogurt. It's just a great place. You should taste it. It's just amazing. So you know, um, I hope to eat mostly during this process, mostly meat, eggs, fish, um, and fruits. Really, I'm just not going to eat stuff with wrappers on it and stuff I know is not good for me.
Now,
Um,
is rice is still okay? Am I hearing
mm,
that, or
yeah,
did Lucas say that was okay?
yeah. I had organic rice tonight, and I had salmon on it, so it was really good, fantastic.
All right. I see Stephanie in here with the seed oils are the silent killer. She is exactly right. Stephanie, so good to see you. I
They
hope you
are.
and Eric are
They're
having a
terrible. They're
wonderful
terrible.
night. But yeah, seed oils, trying to stay away from those. I've been munching on this today because I was lazy and don't have like a ton of meal prepping stuff with me. But
I have those in my office and at the house as well. If you look on them, though, they're still soy based.
I know.
It's not the best product in the world, but it's certainly not ultra processed. So it's okay by Lucas if we snack on that, or even make a small meal out of it. But it's not that tough when you only eat 2 meals a day, really. I mean,
If once you can find your 2 meals, like find your 2 meals. I'm seeing here from, Doug saying eggs are getting hard to find in the grocery. That's right. I'm saying, if we can stick to, the meat, if you can find eggs, find things you're comfortable with. But we're going to be doing this, for the next couple of weeks. So, keep us posted, guys. If you're doing the challenge, you can, let us know. And I was even thinking today, you know, I'm going to take it one day at a time, do the best I can every single day. And, if I, don't do amazing tomorrow, then I'm going to try to do better the next day. Whereas when I've done like the whole 30 and stuff like that before, once I like broke it, I just kind of just forgot about it. But I'm going to keep trying every day to do the best I can.
I'm hoping it
Um,
establishes some just better eating patterns for your
yep.
lifestyle. I mean,
Yep.
occasionally you're going to screw up, but for the most part, you're going to find foods that are really good for you, and you're going to eliminate that junk food you've been eating for the most part.
Yep.
It'll be in your head. If you do this for a
Yep.
month, it'll be in your head as to what you shouldn't be eating that stuff. And you're going to feel so much better. You're not going to crave the junk food.
Yep.
So, um, well, good luck with it. I think we'll
Yeah.
do well with it. I think everybody's doing it.
All right. Thank you. I see D Lynn's got a great comment there. I'm going to put that up in just a second. Agree, Mark. If it needs less refrigeration, it's less processed. Agreed. If you guys have questions for Doc, go ahead and put them in the comments. We're going to get to every single one tonight. I want to start with the few that came in over the week. Appreciate you guys emailing in questions and getting us started. All right, we're going to start with this one here. When giving my husband his T-shot in the upper buttocks, is that considered subcutaneous or intramuscular? Approximately how long should the needle be? It's a great question.
Yeah. Well, if you're mad at your husband, the needle should be much longer. Kidding. That's a good comment. But yeah, the buttocks is divided into 4 quadrants. The upper outer is where you want to go, and that's definitely an intramuscular shot. So the needle is going to be 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I like the inch ones. If they're large, you might want to get 1.5 inches, and I prefer a 25 gauge needle for that because testosterone's thick. But yeah, just be nice to him, and it's virtually painless. So I hope that helps. Get 1 inch to 1.5 inches. If he's a larger guy, 1.5 inches, but I prefer the 25 gauge. You could use a smaller one, but it'd be hard to push the testosterone through. But it's definitely an intramuscular shot. Not that sometimes I don't prescribe subcutaneous testosterone shots. I do sometimes, but they tend to leave whelps. So and actually, contrary to popular opinion, a subcutaneous shot is a longer acting shot than an intramuscular shot. Intramuscular shots really get into the bloodstream quicker than a sub-Q shot.
Interesting. All right, great question there. We're going to go to this question came in through email. Do you have a published alternative anti-cancer protocol? Here's what I came up with. What would you change /add /remove? Carnivore diet, all grass-fed, intravenous vitamin C, quercetin, ivermectin, honey /baking soda mix, and iodine. So real quick, explain to us, Doc, kind of what they mean by kind of an anti-cancer protocol, and then we'll go into what you might change.
Well, alternative anti-cancer, I don't know if you're talking about as a cancer preventative, our treatments, a lot of that stuff we treat cancer with. Certainly, those are all good ideas. You really, if you're looking for publications, studies, and all that, you should go to Dr. Seyfried's books on cancer. I think one of them may be called Star of Cancer, but he explains how cancer cells, which are rapidly dividing, uncontrolled growth of cells, how their metabolism is different than a normal cell. A normal cell relies on something called oxidative phosphorylation for energy to produce ATP. Cancer cells they live more on fermentation. That's why that's why you need to get on a carnivore keto type diet if you have cancer. And you got to realize that when you're treating cancer, preventing cancer follows the same lines. Like I love ivermectin, both as a cancer treater along with fenbendazole, but I also like it as a cancer preventer. There's a lot of evidence that it does. And of course, sugar, cancer loves sugar. So avoid sugar if you can. Intravenous vitamin C, I use it for cancer patients all the time. And I call it an adjunctive treatment to cancer treatment, not an alternative, although a lot of people would say alternative, but don't ignore the other things you need to do if you have cancer. So I like to work with the oncologist. And a lot of times they send me patients sometimes, and for different treatments like Fenbin and IV vitamin C and quercetin, CBD, melatonin. All those are good. Curcumin, certainly one that I think is very beneficial for that. But cancer treatments are challenging. They really are. I love ivermectin. I'm not scared to say that word after today, with the great news about them taking these crazy Facebook fact checkers down. I loved that when I saw that, and I'm sure that the other platforms will probably follow suit, like YouTube. platforms, we got kicked off multiple times during the COVID era for saying 3 words, which I'll say right now. I'm not afraid to say them. Ivermectin, vaccine, Fauci. So you heard me. It's out there. I'm going to start using those words again, guys. I'm not afraid of it anymore. Thank God we maybe live in a free country again. So anyway, a little political note, but let's move on to the next question.
All right, let's go to the next one. One thing I will add, did I see something with the GLP-1s and anti-cancer, or is that just in my head?
Yeah,
I know there's.
Yeah, that's fairly recent too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of good evidence that they may help, prevent cancer. But I like the GLP-1s personally. Is it a natural treatment? Well, GLP-1's hormone in your gut. It controls a lot of things. So it mimics that. So, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a natural, thing, but it's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what berberine does, just in a way more potent way. We've had tremendous success with it on a lot of fronts. Even sleep apnea.
GLP-1 and sleep apnea?
Yeah, that reduces sleep apnea, even before you lose all that weight with it.
Interesting. All right, let's keep moving here. Thank you for that question. And this is a question that I loved because I was thinking about this for myself, and I know so many people in here are taking a ton of vitamins. The question is, we take so many vitamins and supplements. Would it be beneficial to take every one of them every other day instead of daily? If not all of them, which ones are absolutely essential to take daily? I love this. We talk a lot about vitamins on this show. We're going to continue to talk a lot about vitamins on this show.
Great question.
How do you, I kind of know your strategy, but
I'd probably like most of the time I do take it with food. Most of them I take with food. Not all of them, but I'd almost just, if there's too many to take, again, I like to take a bunch of vitamins. It also forces me to drink a lot of water when I take them. But, I'd rather you just alternate different ones on different days. Like I wouldn't take a ton on one day, then the next day take nothing. I would take, certain ones on one day, and if you don't want to take it on the next day, and I personally think that you should aim for taking your vitamins 6 days out of the week for the most part. It's not going to hurt you to take for 7, but there's a thing called tolerance, and it's just, you're going to forget it one day a week anyway. And a lot of times, like I'll go on vacation and I won't take all the vitamins I take at home because I'm just giving myself a tad little break from it. I do think you need your multi daily with food, especially if you take our multi it's loaded. But the 5000 D with K would be the most important one. The second one would probably be omega-3s, unless you eat just a ton of fish, which you can. Third would probably be magnesium at night. But gosh, there's so many more, of course, vitamin C. The one reason I like our multi is not only because it doesn't have any fillers in it at all. It's got the 5000 D with K, MK7. It's got the 1000 of the good form of vitamin C. It's got the vitamin A that you need. It has all the methylated B complex. There's what you just put it up. So look, it's got a ton of stuff in it. Got a little bit of iodine. It's got your zinc, and you need copper when you take zinc. It's got selenium, manganese, chromium. It's just a boron. A lot of great stuff. Take it with food because it's potent. But so I would take that daily. I just don't know that I'd alternate. One reason I really came up with some of the combination vitamins is just because I got tired of taking so many different ones that I wanted to combine them. Again, when you combine something like that has that kind of dosage, it's 3 tablets. So what I do is take 2 with lunch, 1 with dinner. But your other ones that you may take, like your energy formulas, which has CoQ10, PQQ, and taurine, you could do that every other day. The magnesium you need every night for sure. But that multi and the omegas you need daily, it's not that many to take, to be
Mm.
honest with you. Um, I'm just a huge believer in these vitamins. I didn't used to be until I really did my research, tried it out on myself and a bunch of other patients. Um, you know, you, it just helps your immune system for one thing. Right now, I'm taking our immune formula. Of course, it has NAC and extra C and zinc, extra D, and quercetin. Um, a lot of it depends on the particular needs. But
Is it
I
safe to
like,
say there could be like seasons? Like, you might go through a season where you're taking a vitamin daily, and then, once you're through that season, you're taking it less often, and then
well,
you
you
have your
could, like the summer, you could take less vitamin D because you're getting sun, hopefully, just hopefully not getting burned. But you could definitely take less of your D in the summertime. Right now in the winters when you need your vitamins. There's so
mm,
much stuff going around. It's incredible. A lot of flu, a lot of COVID, probably a lot of RSV with kids and maybe elderly people. Um, but there's a lot of stuff going around right now. Right now is when you need to max out your vitamins.
mm.
Um, get your sleep, drink a lot of water, and do all that kind of things.
I love that question, and I'm super grateful that came up because one, we're going to be talking more and more about that over the coming weeks. Different types of strategies, especially during the winter months. I see Jill Henritzi's in here. Jill's our provider
Hey,
over
Jill.
in Bristol. Huge shout out to
My knee's doing way better, Jill, since you did my last PRP. Fantastic.
I love, and I know we have multiple listeners in here who have had PRP with Jill. She's amazing. Jill, thank you for being with us tonight. I see CrossFit First Creek is in here. I love you
Oh,
guys over here in Fountain City. That's where I'm at right now. Thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. We love y'all. All right, let's get to the questions. We're the live portion of the show. If you guys have questions for Dr. Rogers, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm seeing a few come in already. Thank you guys. All right, let's get rocking and rolling. I am going to start with, let's see, where am I at? I'm going to put this. I'm seeing it. Mark is asking about my hair. I'm getting distracted. Here we go. Tom, update on creatine. Yes, I did. I'm going to put this up real quick. Tom just started on our creatine, and his lifts are going through the roof, he says. Tom, thank you so much for this comment. I'm trying to find it, and I can't find it. So I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to go to D-Lyn, and then I'll find Tom's comment. I love tallow for my skin, but is it okay to cook with since seed oils are bad? I've used canola for years, and you just can't make biscuits from any kind of oil. What's your thoughts on this?
yeah, it's funny because Carter and I talked about this very thing today. The tallow for your skin is not the tallow you use for cooking.
Mm.
We talked. There's a few restaurants that actually still cook with tallow. There's some kind of site or app she has that'll tell you which ones do. So it's a little different type of tallow. But yeah, you can get the cooking tallow. That's great, but the skin stuff's a little bit different. You don't want to cook in it. It's too fluffy. I don't think you could cook with it. Yeah, plain tallow, no fragrance. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If Carter has anything she can jump in with, I think she cooks with it too and uses the whip stuff. But God's great for your skin.
Yeah.
We can't keep it in.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter when your skin is so dry. It's just fantastic for your skin.
D-Lyn, thank you for that, and we'll keep you posted. If I see from Carter a type of towel, I think it's Lady May that we're using in office. And D-Lyn, you're probably talking about that. I'm going to put this up from Tom. I've been taking creatine, put on 6 pounds, and lifts are going through the roof. That's amazing, man.
Awesome.
Makes me
That's
so
awesome.
happy.
Yeah, we put HMG in our creatine as well. I think it
HMB.
helps build muscles too.
Yep.
HMB, excuse me, HMB. Yeah, hydroxymethylbutyrate. Yeah.
Thank you, Tom, for the kind comment. Roel is asking, Doctor, on my CBC blood worksheet, what does MPV mean?
MPV means mean corpuscular volume. And there's also a mean platelet volume we don't get, but unless it's really out of whack, it usually doesn't mean a lot. If it's way high, sometimes it means your corpuscles are a little bit larger than normal, and you could have a B12 or folate deficiency. But usually, one of those numbers on a CBC is slightly off a little bit, but in general, it doesn't mean much at all. I'll be glad to look at if you want to fax your entire CBC with differential into Ben. I'll look at it and see if there's anything I'm worried about. But I mean, there's all kinds of little things that they check with that, like an RDW, things like that could mean something. But most likely, in your case, it's not going to mean much. But I'll send it in to Ben and let me just look at it. We'll give you some more feedback on it.
Roel, you can scan that into me if you would like. Ben at performancemedicine.net. We'll get Doc to look at it. Thank you for that comment. I'm going to put this up from Carter. Seed Oil Scout is the app, and she's using Lady May tallow. Thank you, Carter. I have also used Epic brand tallow. Got it at Walmart. Super cool. Katie and I are actually just bought a bucket of Lady May tallow to share. That's awesome. That's super
awesome.
cool.
Awesome.
All right, let's get moving with let's see where I'm at here. Sherry over on YouTube. Thank you, Sherry. What is the difference between BPC 157 versus BPC 157 acetate? I have an autoimmune disease and want to try the injection.
The oral BPC 157 is more for gut. That's something I take every day. You probably want to get the BPC 157 acetate for injection form, which I think works too for injuries. One thing about them, you have to do a lot of injections, but if you do it subcutaneous right around the site of the sprain or even stress fracture, that type of thing, bursitis, then it goes to where you need it to go to. Even though you're doing it sub-Q, you're not doing it into the actual joint or tendon. You're just really doing it right around it. But it seems to have this great anti-inflammatory effect and promotes growth factors, and it's a really cool thing. I've done it. Of course, I do the oral BPC, and then I've done the injectable acetate for an injury. I think I had tennis elbow. I did it years ago, but you need to do it daily for a while.
Are you experimenting any with peptides? The only reason I ask, I think Andy's starting. He's starting one new peptide today.
Starting TB500, and he's doing the injectable BPC.
He's doing BPC. Okay.
Yeah, the injectable form. But
the injectable is the acetate.
I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to. I need to fact check that. Maybe I'll go to Zuckerberg and get that fact checked. But
Sherry, I hope that helps a little bit.
The acetate's a vehicle for the solution. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry, for that question. Let's get to Monica here. MTHFR, do you test for this?
Yeah, on everybody that comes in there. If they get a Cleveland, as part of our Cleveland heart test, we do that in the ApoB genetic test, which I like because a lot of people have that mutation on the MTHFR. I do. I've got double mutations on the one you don't want to have, 67TT, and my homocysteine level as a result goes high. People like me don't convert folic acid to folate, so we usually come in low on those numbers. So you need methylated folate, methyl B12, B6. I also add TMG, trimethylglycine. I'm able to get that homocysteine level down, which is a very important inflammatory marker. But yeah, the MTHFR gene is important. You know, if you have a mutation, especially on the 677T one, then you're more likely to have blood clots, miscarriages, heart attacks, strokes. Um, you know, a lot of it has to do with that cycling of homocysteine into methionine.
Mm.
If you go back to your biochemistry, but yeah, we certainly do check for it. And the other variation I see a lot of is a 1298, which isn't as correlated with cardiovascular disease. Sometimes it's more correlated, I find, with anxiety and
Mm.
depression. So a lot of it depends on which form you have. But it's a very interesting gene. I mean, you can even do a lot deeper dive with do a COMT genetic test, a CBS genetic test. Read Dr. Lynch's book called Dirty Genes. It kind of explains it in detail.
Mm.
But yeah, we sure do. You should check that.
Monica, thank you so much for teeing us up on that question. Debbie, Happy New Year to you over in Queensland, Australia. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday morning. Let's get to Mark's question. Mark, thank you so
I had a
much, brother.
patient today, Ben, that is going to spend the winter in Australia like she does every year. She's
That's
flying out soon.
I'd say that's one of the better places in the world to spend the winter. I think that's
Yep.
amazing. Thank you, Debbie, for being in here. Mark, okay, here we go. The 2025 anti-cancer therapy is IV melatonin, suppresses hypoxia-inducible factor 1A, HIF-1A, a central driver of the Warburg effect cells, limiting their glycolytic activity. This approach not only glycolytic. This approach not only targets cancer metabolism, but also spares normal cells, as they do not rely on the same glycolytic pathways, making IV melatonin a potentially safe and effective. So what's your thoughts on this? So IV melatonin, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've never given it IV, but I have people do. They do it in some of these cocktails, but melatonin is definitely anti-cancer. Whether it works for this that mutation you're talking about or that pathway you're talking about, the HIF-1A. I don't know much about that, but some people think that cancer. There's something called p53 suppressor protein that suppresses cancer in your body, and that if it gets low, then that's when cancer kind of takes over. I saw a guy today, a new cancer patient, who has had 5 different kinds of cancer, and I bet you anything he's got low p53 protein in his body for whatever reason. Again, he worked around chemicals his whole life, and he's had a lot of toxic exposures that probably drove that down. But melatonin's a good anti-cancer. I put everybody on it that has cancer. I have one guy that takes 150 milligrams of it orally. The interesting thing about melatonin is, everybody thinks about it for sleep, and it does help most people sleep better. Not all, but most. But if you take it, if you don't like that, some people don't like the dreaming that you get with it. And some people, it just doesn't work for sleep. It has the opposite effect. So I tell them to take it in the morning. So unless you take melatonin when it's dark, it's not going to make you drowsy. But to have the anti-cancer effects, you may have to get up on the dose a little bit. 10 milligram, maybe even 20 to suppress breast cancer is what, one of the numbers I've heard. But the Otto Warburg is one of the first guys that studied about cancer, the Warburg effect. And really, Dr. Seyfried has really kind of taken over his work and is still active. But that's probably the best explanation of what causes cancer that we have so far. But read Seyfried's book. But you're right. I mean, that all goes down to the metabolism of really glucose. It's what I call the glycolytic pathway. But yeah, it's a good thought. I'm all for it.
IV melatonin. I've heard the high dose melatonin. I've heard you talk about the patient that's taking the 150 milligrams, but I haven't heard the IV. So Mark, thank you so much for putting that in there.
Usually
What was
with medicines, pills work pretty good. Shots work better than pills. IVs work better than shots. That's
Yep.
kind of, and for most drugs, you can give them IV as well. You can poke melatonin there, NAD plus, things like that.
So interesting. Mark, thank you for that, man. I think I'm caught up on questions. We're going to be here for a little while longer, guys. So if you have a question for Doc, go ahead and put it in the comments. While we're waiting, I do want to ask in the note today, you talked a little bit about your strategy for, proactively treating respiratory illnesses. Can you run us through that? I know people, yeah, I mean, you can hear my voice. I know people are probably in
You
similar
had it.
boats.
We
Can you
all
walk
had
through
it
it?
over the holidays. We really did. And yeah, I mean, I believe in early, faster treatment of some of these infections, just through experience and personally, and with thousands and thousands of patients. Gosh, if you're a primary care doctor and don't know how to treat a cold, nobody who would know better to treat colds than family doctors. But the theory is most of these things are viruses, and you can't treat a virus. But I beg to disagree. But I think you can treat a virus. Look at what we did for COVID. I always like ivermectin. I like early treatment. I'm easy to throw a Z-Pack in there too.
Mm.
Like I talked about on the podcast, I think Z-Packs work for viruses. I really do. Whether it's you're already seeding it with bacteria or not, I don't know, but it works for viruses, in my opinion. And I always give a walk-off prescription to somebody for a Z-Pack in case they're not getting better. If you want to start it on day 2, go ahead. You talk about tolerance and, to antibiotics, and that is a thing. But we've got way more potent, broader spectrum antibiotics that we have in our armamentarium for other types of serious infections. So, I think we're probably even seeing that a Z-Pack is probably not working like it did 10 years ago. But they
Interesting.
still usually work, but not quite as well. But I load them up with vitamins early. I use ivermectin on them, high dose of DNC, of course, zinc. And I just try to keep a tight watch on it. Sometimes I use steroids, shot of Celestone. I certainly took one when I had this a week ago. Knock on wood, I had what felt like the flu last week. There was a ton of flu A going around. My brother tested positive for it. I tested negative, but I already started my treatment, so that may have affected because it felt like flu. I actually haven't had a sniffle or a sore throat in 4 years, probably because I take all these vitamins. But it felt worse than when I had COVID.
Mm.
Back in 21 when I had COVID. You had COVID at the same time I did. And I felt worse with this flu or whatever it was than I did with the COVID.
Mm.
But there's an interesting new thing that you can do that I told you to do. And now you can go into a pharmacy and get an over-the-counter cheap nasal swab that will test at home for, there it is right there. Had been to it. For I still have a lingering cough, for COVID, as well as flu A and B, which I think is what you really need. I don't really check so much for RSV unless kids need to be checked for that, and maybe really elderly adults. But I approach it the same way. I treat them the same way, aggressively. And you don't need a strep test unless you have a sore throat, real bad sore throat. Of course, we do those in the office. That's not a home test. But for my money, that you can go in and get that cheap test. If you get sick, swab your nose, and if you're positive, just call the office. We'll treat you over the phone for it and have the stuff ready for you in case you get worse. Because sometimes if you don't treat it, you can end up with pneumonia. Um, Yep, Target has a code for about $24.
Yeah.
You can end up with pneumonia from this thing, and then have to get on inhalers and steroid dose packs, everything. Um, but yeah, it's the first year that these tests, this combination COVID flu A and B test has been available for the public.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's a great tool. I really do.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned to me was just that first 48 hours is key in order to be able to use something like a Tamiflu if you do have
Yeah.
the flu.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this up from my brother Steve here. Should someone over 65 get a flu shot and a pneumonia shot? What's your thoughts on this?
Are you asking me that or a regular doctor? I'm not getting them. Let's just put it that way. I'm not getting either one of them. And now, if you're immunocompromised and you're old, you get sick all the time, you live in a nursing home, and you're paranoid about it, maybe you should. I don't personally like the flu shot much. For many years, decades, I would urge all my patients, everyone, get a flu shot. And then half of them will say, every time I take the flu shot, I get the flu. And I would say, that's just BS. It's just chance. I was wrong. They were right. I mean, I can't tell you how many people get the flu the day or two after they take a flu shot. Then they'll say, well, it was less serious. Bull crap. I just call that out for what it's worth. Actually, the flu shot is about 30% effective in preventing hospitalization, is what the CDC will tell you. In other words, it only works it doesn't work even that much. It's 30%, they say, may keep you out of the hospital. So look at your risk factors. I mean, if you've had great experiences with flu shots in the past, you can keep getting them. If every time I took one, I felt awful for a couple days. Same thing when I took the shingle shot, I felt terrible. So I just took one. I never took the second Shingrix. Pneumonia shot, and you got to remember, if you have flu, we can treat the flu. We can treat pneumonia. I'm not totally against all vaccines, but I'm trending that way. Just through years of experience and research and just common sense. I mean, I've seen some really bad things happen with flu shots. I mean, the COVID shot was probably the worst vaccine ever made. It wasn't even really a vaccine, but horrible, horrible. Number one, it didn't prevent you from getting it. And it never prevented transmission, may have caused transmission. And I know this is controversial, but I'm not afraid to talk about it anymore. And I've got a nice couple of podcasts coming up in the next few weeks with somebody that an internist that treated a ton of COVID like I do.
Yeah. And
she's a very educated internal medicine doctor who went against the grain like I did, but it's really, and her whole life was geared towards treating COVID. And she's about my age, maybe a little younger, but really interesting couple of podcasts that you're going to want to tune into. There's no way I would have played either one of these before. I'm still probably not going to play them before January 20th, but interesting. So, I mean, how many people are getting the COVID shot now? Very, very few. 18% of people choose to get it now, when they still push the heck out of it, even on kids. And kids did fine with COVID, 99.9% survivability. And for adults, it was 98.9 or something like that. So, and again, with those tests that they ran, that they really messed up the cycle threshold. It was way too high. So really, some of those positive COVID tests were probably just colds or flu. Again, a cold is a coronavirus. So Steve, I can tell you, make your own decision about getting that. If you're paranoid about it, if you're immunocompromised and you think your chances are better with the flu shot, you want to, go ahead and try it. But if you have any kind of bad experience with it, I don't get them anymore. Pneumonia, maybe I'd be more likely to get a pneumonia shot if I really had bad lungs. Then I'd probably get one if I had bad lungs. But knock on wood, I don't have bad lungs.
Mm.
I don't smoke. I don't have COPD. I don't have asthma. And so, just early treatment, Steve.
It's a great question. I appreciate you bringing up that topic. I want to get to
one thing you should take, Steve, is Digest Shield every day for your gut.
That's right.
Remember, your immune system is located in your gut. So if you take your Digest Shield, you're going to be better off in every way.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that question. I want to get to Hannah here. And then I see Sky has a great question on Facebook. I really want to get to that. And Lori, you mentioned getting hormones tested from a question my husband asked you. Our doc said I should wait to get hormones tested postpartum because it won't be accurate due to breastfeeding. What's your thoughts on this? This is a great question. Really good question.
That's probably right. Yeah. I mean, you should wait, and again, if you're just had a baby, your hormones are probably fine, assuming your periods go back to normal and all, and you don't get postpartum depression, which is a real thing. Yeah, so I think you're probably right. Wait till you quit breastfeeding and then see how your periods track out. And then if you do get your hormones checked as a female that's menstruating, you get it checked between day 19 and 23. That's the best time to check it.
Great question. Thank you so much for sending that in on YouTube. I'm going to get to Lori here, then Scott. Traveling a lot, airports and planes, coming in from sick family in Texas, have a vacation in a few days, taking your methylene blue super and immune vitamins. Any other suggestions to keep well? This is a great question, Lori. A lot of us are in scenarios similar.
Yes, when you're out in public, always wear your mask everywhere you go. Even if you're traveling on your bicycle, wear the mask and don't get within 6 feet of another human being for the rest of the winter. I'm kidding, Lori. I'm trying to make this a fun experience. All that stuff was ridiculous. That's why it stayed around so long, to be honest with you, and mutated, and we're still seeing it. They should have just let it run through like the flu runs through everybody. Get that natural immunity and aggressive early treatment of a lot of people. But so your question is traveling a lot, and there's no doubt that you travel, you're more exposed to all this stuff, without a doubt. I don't think masks work, but I would definitely take your ivermectin when traveling. Everybody should have ivermectin in their travel kit. They should have methylene blue, which you should be taking anyway. You should take your immune vitamins formula. You should always have a Z-Pack on hand. And you may even want to up your DNC a little bit. Make sure you're on zinc as well. So be ready because you're more likely to get sick when you travel. There's no doubt about it in my mind. You are exposed to more. But so just be prepared. I think the best thing you do is take ivermectin,
Yeah. Would you say for Lori here, she's clearly been exposed. Would you do twice a week ivermectin, or would you do every day ivermectin?
I would do twice a week, and as soon as you start coming down with something, then take it daily. Double your dose and take it daily. The way I do it, go from 15 milligrams twice a week.
I like this one from Carter.
And Cofix is great too. To 30 milligram daily for 5 days. But Cofix, take Cofix too. We have it in all our offices. It's really povidone iodine. You squirt it in your nose and your throat. And I think that helps a lot too. They tamp it down a little bit.
Lori, thank you so much for that question.
Hand washing, yeah. A lot of fluids. Get your rest. I think a lot of times people get sick because they're not resting. They're not eating like they usually do.
Yep.
A little bit stressed.
I see Robin's over there on Instagram. Robin, so good to see you. Esty Bestie's in here. Great to see you guys. Happy New Year. Yoga Mama Shelly has a great question. Will methylene blue help with a rash around the mouth and eyelids? Great question.
I've never seen it work for that.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I've never tried it for that. But a rash around the mouth and eyelids.
Yep.
Huh. I just wonder if it's a little cheilitis, which is a little rash you can get in the corner of your mouth, sometimes from a zinc deficiency. Take your immune formula. But if you think it's a little just dermatitis from something you've gotten into, you can actually put a little Cordaid, on the rash. Don't put it in your eye, but you can certainly or put it around the corner of the mouth and on your eyelid. And do the soaks too. Do the warm compresses.
Yoga Mama Shelly, does that help a little bit? Let me know over there on Instagram. I'm going to get to Scott's question. I love this question. Dr. Rogers, do you take every supplement that you sell? I'm assuming, we have an online store, plus the in-office stuff.
I do. I certainly take about all of them. I take the immune formula during the winter. I don't take it unless there's something going around. Certainly now I'm taking it. And I don't take my D with K because it's in my super. I certainly take my longevity factor. I'll be 70 years old here in a week or two, which I really like. I take the energy formula. So I'm trying to think of what else is it that we have out there. I take creatine for sure. I think all adults should take that in most cases. I'd say I think I do take them all. I take a lot of vitamins.
Do you take, I'm looking at the online store now. Do you take the pain formula?
I do.
Yep. Do you take Quercetin Max?
That's one I don't take unless I'm sick. Yeah. I do take it if I'm sick.
And I'm assuming, do you take Berberine Max?
I have taken it in the past, but not right now. I mean, I don't find that I need it because I'm not so, with more of a carnivore diet, I don't really need, and I'm not too insulin resistant. So I have taken it, but I'm not taking it right now.
Here's one that's.
I take the Omega. I do take the Omega.
You take the Omega Max.
For sure.
You're obviously taking Methylene Blue, the NeuroPro. Do you take Healthy Happy Hair?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Stress relief?
I've got I've got a regimen for hair that I take that you don't need because your hair is way long. You need it cut, especially before your wedding. Amanda's going to want you to cut it.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, I take the Happy Healthy Hair, and I can show. I need to put some of these pictures up before and after of my hair. I take the Happy Healthy Hair. I take 1 milligram of finasteride, and I also take a minoxidil orally, and I think that's really thickened my hair up. Knock on wood.
You know what? I love this question, Scott. It's fun to kind of, one, just see what you're taking right this second. And, like we've said before, sometimes, you'll use a vitamin for a season and sometimes not. And, some people take certain vitamins for very specific reasons. But I know that, you created all these kind of with you in mind to a degree.
Especially the longevity formula and the super. The super's by far
and the pain. Product. And the pain. You made that for you.
Yeah, I'll tell you that my back, knock on wood, is better. And I haven't said that in 5 years at least. Look what I've gone through with my back.
You've gone through a lot. Yeah.
I've flashed my X-ray up there before. But anyway,
I love that question, Scott. Thank you for putting that in there. I want to get there. There's been some questions come in. I want to make sure we get to as many as possible. Real quick, let's see. Let's get to Tammy. I hope I'm seeing this all right. Thank you for Evangeline. So good to see you, man. 12 milligrams daily since 2020. That's ivermectin, I'm assuming. Thank you, right. Evangeline. Tammy saying end-stage pancreatic cancer, intestines are in pain with bowel issues, started Slippery Elm today. pre and probiotic, I'm assuming. Any other gut recommendations? FYI, Vanderbilt said I would be dead. Oh man, by April 2023. Well, Tammy, I'm so glad you are here.
Me too. Me too.
Goodness,
That's
thank you for being
awesome.
here.
Yeah, I like the Slippery Elm for gut health. Of course, I love Digest Shield because you get all the stuff in it, as well as chitosan, which Steve and
Yeah.
I did a podcast on one time. Other gut recommendations, I would go keto. I would do a ketogenic diet. I would not eat sugar. I think diet's as important as anything for cancer. I like fenbendazole. I really do. I like ivermectin. I use both of them. But it sounds like you're doing pretty well. You know, you've beat the odds, and I'm not sure if you're getting anything else in the traditional route as far as chemo or anything. I guarantee you've probably been through some chemo, if not still taking it. I don't know if you've had a Whipple procedure or what, but we'll certainly put you in our prayers too. But take care of that gut first, and some of the other stuff that we talked about with melatonin, curcumin. And also another gut recommendation probably would be BPC 157.
Yep.
I would avoid any peptides that increase your growth hormone, if that's not one of them. But yeah, do all that stuff. CBD, just use all the stuff.
Tammy, we're praying for you. Thank you for being here, and super, super grateful. And thank you for putting that question in. I want to see here. I see McLeod Organics Jonesboro. Shout out to Jonesboro.
Oh, I love that. I love that place.
Thank you so much for being here. I've had shingles 3 times in 10 years. The first 2 weren't too bad, but this one was brutal. I do not take any vaccines. However, I do not want to go through this again. My overall health is very good. I'm 66 and not on any prescription meds. What would you suggest? So this is around shingles, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad you're not taking any vaccines. If you read the literature, if you're one that has recurrent shingles, I wouldn't be against you trying it. If you feel, you take the first one. If you feel awful, don't take another one. But you don't want to take it within 6 months of when you had your last shingles outbreak, for sure. One thing I would do would be get on L-lysine. I think that helps a lot. A lot depends on your gut function. I'd almost even think about low-dose naltrexone. I like LDN in that situation. Shingles can get pretty severe, and if you've been left with a lot of post-herpetic neuralgia, nerve pain for years, and you might want to think about it. Again, I'm not against all vaccines for all people. In some cases, I may recommend that you get a shingles vaccine. But, and it's hard to predict, if you'll ever get this again. You could get it again, even if you took the vaccine. You're probably a little less likely to. But, again, I would take all your vitamins. Just keep your immune system healthy. I'd probably take that immune formula that has quercetin, NAD+. Certainly take a good multivitamin. I would definitely take L-lysine. That really, a lot of people take that just to tune down canker sores or even, herpetic lip sores, and it keeps it down. So definitely get on some L-lysine. And, if you get it a 4th time, despite doing all that, you might consider taking the vaccine.
Thank you so much, McLeod Organics Jonesboro. Love you guys. Thank y'all for the question. I'm seeing a couple ivermectin questions. I'm going to try to get to Kim as well. I have 2 locations I get ivermectin. Do you have a certain place you recommend? Normally pretty expensive, and there is some conversation around where to get it.
It's
What's
not
your thoughts
cheap,
on
but you
this?
need to go to a compounding pharmacy. If you live in Tennessee, Tennessee's the only state in the union that you can get it over the counter without a prescription. Now, that pharmacy will have to have backup from a local physician, like me for Max Medicine Mart, certainly in Knoxville Heartland. You can get it from Josh at the compounding pharmacy of Johnson City. You can get it at Markham's. I'm pretty sure you can get it at Premier. It's going to need to be a compounding pharmacy. Heck, I don't know if you could even order it off the internet. You probably could. I don't think I would, but just because the internet gives me the heebie-jeebies sometimes with ordering medications from them. But if you live around here, those are the ones, it's not terribly expensive, but it's not cheap either. I agree with you. It's about $3 a pill in most cases.
This is what D. Lynn's saying too, kind of around the same thing. Max will only sell 5. So 5 ivermectin pills at a time. Is that what you're seeing, Pop?
No, I don't know why they just give you only 5. I don't know about that. What we'll do, we'll just call you in some. I called in today, somebody 60. So maybe they have some new internal rule that they just want to ration it or something. I don't know, but I don't know why you could only get 5 tablets. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll try to find out why Max is doing that. I didn't know that.
D-Lyn, we'll make a note of this and I'll shoot you shoot me an email to remind me, because we'll look into that for sure. Real quick with Kim here, thoughts on iodine, hypothyroidism, 20 years, and have always taken Synthroid. Is Armour thyroid meds better? Kim, I appreciate this question. We get thyroid questions all the time. What's your thoughts on this?
I wouldn't willy-nilly go taking big doses of iodine, like Lugol's, unless I check my iodine levels first. And you can only do that through a spot urine test by ZRT Labs. We do them in our office, or have you do them. But most people with hypothyroidism probably a little bit iodine deficient, 80%. You just don't want to be that one that has too much and it jumps off your growth of your thyroid gland. I'm not fond of that Wilson protocol too much personally. I've just seen a couple of patients with it did horribly with it. But look at your antibodies. I certainly prefer the desiccated pig thyroids better than Synthroid. About 90% of my patients just feel better, and I prefer NP over Armour because it has less fillers in it. There is a difference. So yeah, come in and get labs checked and get your TPO level checked, and it's certainly worth a try. There's a conversion chart that we go when we switch somebody from Synthroid to NP thyroid. And again, if you do take, I would not take levothyroxine. If you're going to take one, take the brand name Synthroid. But most of my patients really like NP way better.
Yeah, I'm seeing Stephen saying the same thing. Thank you, Stephen, for that. Real quick, Kim, I hope that helps a little bit. I want to put this up from Carter for D. Lynn. So that's the thing that's probably happening with Max.
Oh, okay.
So if you go in OTC, they're going to give you that many at a time. That's what I'm hearing.
I guess they're just for treatment, not prophylaxis. So I'm glad you told me that. We'll just start calling it in.
Yeah. I'm going to get this from Doug, and then there's going to be a few where we might have to start with next week. I'm going to get to Michael as well. I'm currently taking LDN at night for leaky gut, but sometimes forget to take it. Would it be okay to switch to taking it in the morning? If so, could I take it with my BPC 157 and probiotics?
Sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem at all with it. Some people prefer their LDN in the morning because they dream too much with LDN. But yeah, BPC is another good one, and take your Digest Shield. Look at your diet for leaky gut. Heal your gut first. Um, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do from Brookhaven Farms for your gut. I think that helps my gut. Again, I went through a terrible time when I had COVID. It really was worse in my gut than it was my lungs and respiratory system. And really, eating a carnivore diet, I think, really helped heal my gut more than anything. And I tried everything.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Thank you, Doug. And real quick, let's get Michael. GLP resistance, just like insulin. GLP resistance, just like insulin resistance. After a few months of Ozempic or others not working, any thoughts on this? I hope I'm reading that right, Michael. Okay, so resistance to the GLP-1s. Okay, I'm with you.
I've seen a little bit of that. I haven't seen too much of it. So what I like to do in that case is really I prefer the GLP-1 and the GIP, like the tirzepatide, better. It's just a better drug. That way, it's really a weak GLP-1, a strong GIP, gastrointestinal peptide. It just works better. So if you're getting resistance, you may want to switch to the other or take a little break from it. While you're taking a break, take berberine, which is nature's Ozempic, what they call it. It's not going to be as potent, but you can certainly try a strategy like that. But I tell you, they're going to come out with more good stuff. But I like the combination GLP, GIP way better. I just see less resistance. And again, work your dose up too. Work your dose up to, again, I don't know whether you're taking it for diabetes, you're taking it for weight loss, or any other benefits like sleep apnea. And there's so many things that's going to help. But maybe try switching going to a little higher dose, work your way up. It's meant to be step progressed, but it is a maintenance drug too. So therefore you shouldn't develop too much tolerance. I haven't seen too much of that. But great question.
Yeah, I love that question, Michael. And what something that we're going to continue to talk about. And if you ever hit a plateau or you feel like you're getting a little resistance, there's definitely strategies around it, as Doc is saying. Let's see. I think I'm through most of them. I might have missed. Mark put up one, and we're going to probably get to that one first next week, Mark. One, because it has a lot of words I can't pronounce. So we're going to get to Mark's question first next week, and we're going to call it a night. I think the Vols are playing either right now or they're getting ready to play. I just want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. There we go. Yeah, thank you. The No Processed Food Challenge is happening right now. You don't have to get an in-body scan if you don't want to. I did not. I'm just starting today and trying to do the best I can with the no processed food. Thank you, team, for putting that up there for us. You can scan that QR code if you want to be a part of it and see kind of what our guidelines are and some strategies that you can do. Thank you for that, Pop. Thank you so much, man. That was fun.
Good to be back. Good to be back. See you next week.
Do you feel like we were rusty? Were we rusty at all?
We've both been under the weather, but I think we fought through it. Our brains may not have been as sharp as they usually are, but I think we did our best. Let's put it that
way. Guys,
did
we do okay? We appreciate y'all being with us tonight after a couple weeks. We're excited to be back. We're excited for 2025. We're excited about the No Processed Food Challenge. I hope some of you go on that journey with us, whether it's for a day, a week, or a month. I told Carter this morning I barely made it to lunch, so I'm just hoping I make it through dinner tonight. There's Ike. Pop, I appreciate you, man. Go watch the game. Okay, Mark, I see. Okay, thank you. Mark, I'm trying to find the question that we'll get to that first next week. Okay, cool. All right, Tammy, thank you. We're praying for you. Thank you so much for being here. Scott, thank you, man. Guys, we love you. We will be back next week. As always, we do this show 7 to 8 every Tuesday. I'm excited for 2025 and the live Q&A. To everyone on our team, thank you so much. Saw so many of you in here tonight. We appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. We love you. All right, I'm going to call it an evening. Carter says the Vols are losing, which means I got to go help them out. I got to bail out the Vols again. So I'm going to go help them out, and we're going to get a W over Florida. See you guys.
Don't go away.